So how does it feel, to be running a business which is a household name?
Comes with a lot of responsibility. It has its own challenges, but
What has been the most difficult part about this, journey of building Anand Sweets?
for us, the biggest challenge,
What was the mindset when you partnered with Swiggy?
frankly, Swiggy happened by chance because the founder did come to us too and said, we're doing this.
So if someone doesn't has a family-run business but wants to start something, a sweet or food, business, what would be your recommendation for any newbie?
You can have a very nice store, you can have very fancy packaging, you can have a great customer service, but when the customer consumes.
Okay, so my guest for today's episode is Ankeet Dadu. He's one of the partners of Anand Sweets. Welcome Ankit, welcome
Thank
to
you.
Game
Thank you,
Room.
Swati.
अगर आप बैंगलोर में रहते हो तो आनंद स्वीट्स एब्सोल्युटली नीड्स नो इंट्रोडक्शन सो अंकित would love to understand कि how did Anand Sweet become a household name, from where it kind of started. Can you just take us through the back journey?
So Anand Sweets is a 33-year-old brand. It was started by my father, Mr. Anand Dadu, in the year 1988. He was in the sweet industry and he was working as a salesman in one of the firms. That's when he got inspired that maybe I should do this on my own, and that's when he took a leap of faith and opened his own store at Commercial Street in 1988. Obviously, it was a struggle for him when he started. It was he had children to manage, financial problems, quality problems, customer problems, and he braved through all of that. And slowly we started adding more stores. I think the second store came in only 8 years later in 1996, and then the third store came in about 2000. That's when the next generation took over. Slowly the next generation got into the business, and from then henceforth we realized the retail Indian Mithai, quality Indian Mithai is lacking in the city, and if we can crack that market, I think we could become a good household name. And we also realized only with Mithai the brand will not grow. So we introduced food, we introduced charts, and that's how a lot of brand recall happened for us, because people kind of started walking into the stores more, started seeing our product portfolio more, and then we got to design our stores better, design our packaging better. So at every step decision that we took, we kept customer in mind, and that's how we think we've gained popularity among our customers today.
तो आपके फादर वाज अ सेल्स पर्सन एंड देन ही
Yes.
स्टार्टेड द स्टोर, तो फिर
Yes.
वो कैपिटल कैसे आया आपका स्टोर
It was a struggle, so he took money. Obviously, bank wouldn't lend him because he was not an entrepreneur. I mean, he didn't have no credit history then. Through friends, through family, he made these small borrowings from his colleagues, and so that's how initially capital came in. And in fact, he tells us stories that he was on the verge of shutting down the store because of financial problems, but God had other plans for him, and he kind of blazed through it and sustained back then.
बट डिड यू ऑल हैव अ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फैसिलिटी बैक देन, या फिर घर पे ही मिठाई बना के आप लोग स्टोर पे
No,
रखते
we
थे?
did have a manufacturing. We had a small kitchen. I wouldn't call it a manufacturing facility because he started with one store, and that one store was running for almost 8-10 years. So we had a small kitchen that was catering to the store, and his concept was very clear. I will only give fresh to my customers. I will not make. So it was all just in time. You make it, you sell it. You make it, you sell it. So I think that's when people realize that's good quality sweets.
So who would make you guys had a chef at that point of time, or it was the family which came together and which made sweets that time?
We had chefs, and my father also, because he was working in a sweet shop, he had a lot of knowledge of what goes in, what are the right proportions, what are the right raw materials. So a collaboration of the chef and the people back then, the family members back then, kind of made a lot of good products.
So जब आप बड़े हो रहे थे तो you would have seen the store grow from 1 to 2, to 3. So you would have even sat on in those stores during your vacation time.
Yeah, so I think from when I was 4 years old, I was in the stores. During Dashara, Diwali, we used to go to the factories, and we used to sit in the office and be in the store. So we've been in the stores from 4 years old, 5 years old, and we've seen the business grow. We've seen how my dad has struggled and what changed, what worked, what didn't work. And at the same time we were, so obviously while we were studying, we didn't think this would be an option. because my dad was saying that I'm settled, you guys look at something else. But then obviously we didn't have a plan back then to join business. But we finished education, we realized that we can do much better in the business, and that's when we joined the business.
So what kind of struggle did you see your dad go through in your early childhood days?
I think it's retail is a very tough market in terms of giving the number of hours that you do. Because it's a morning to night job, it's a 7 day a week job, and there's this vendor that you need to make payments, and there's customers who don't pay you, and the salaries to be paid, the rents to be paid, and so if the business doesn't do well, these costs just pile on you, right? And then you had a family to look after because you just left a well-paid job. So those are the struggles that he braved through, and he was like, let's see where fate takes us. That was my limited knowledge of what he's doing.
बट आपने तो सीए की पढ़ाई की, उसके बाद यू वर वर्किंग इन अ बिग फोर, तो कौन सा मोमेंट पे आपको ये लगा दैट लुक आई शुड कैरी ऑन with my family business, maybe I can build something big out of it?
So that happened by chance. So basically, when I did my CA, the option to work in the family business, I mean, I never thought I'll do family business after I do a CA. I'd probably do a high profile corporate job or something, and I worked in a big four. I worked in PwC, and life was good. And since I've been going to my store from like age 4, I had that business was in me. We need to do business. We need to. So at one point of time in a job, I just realized there's something lacking. Like you're at the mercy of your seniors, and a job is a job at the end of the day. Not from a salary point of view, but the accountability, the ability to do different things, the ability to think differently is lacking. It didn't excite me. Though I was professionally very educated, but didn't excite me what I was doing. So I just quit. And while I quit, I decided, till I find another job, or till I decide I do something else, I just start going to the store, start going to the shop, and start looking at things more seriously. And then I never turned back. So I just got dissolved in the firm slowly.
So what is it that job was not giving you in terms of satisfaction? Job आपको family business से मिल रहा है?
See, you have the ability to turn things. You have the ability to take decisions. You have the ability to make a change. You have the ability to decide a few things. You have faster decision-making power. You don't have a hierarchy like in a corporate structure. You don't. I mean, there's lesser accountability, but there's more responsibility in a firm. And when you're responsible, you obviously tend to try different things, experiment different things. You think differently. You want to do different things. So, and experiments fail, experiments click, and so that was an exciting journey.
So so tell me a little bit about your experiments, like what experiments you guys did as second generation, मतलब experiments that really worked or experiments जो एकदम ही disastrous experiments बन गए.
So I think my elder brother joined the business in 2002. That's when we introduced food. No, not that we introduced chaat then. And back then chaat was just out of the small counter that thela walas and all that. But he started selling it very differently, in a very posh environment, a very good store location, very hygienic way of serving. So that experiment kind of clicked. So though we were charging slightly more, but the customers liked the fact that it was hygienic, liked the fact that it was well served, liked the fact that it was served in a nice environment. So those were the experiments. Then that worked. Then we introduced food in restaurants. Again, we realized that the dearth of North Indian food, because Bangalore's higher migration from people from the north, and heavy in Bangalore you get a lot of South Indian food, but not the authentic, the Delhi chola bhaturas and authentic Delhi food. So we then got into restaurants. Again, it was very labor intensive, but we try it, and that again clicked, because what we realized is a lot of customers keep coming back to the store to eat the food, if not buying the sweets. So that kind of gave us a greater brand recall. The experiments, some of that didn't work. That we did start this wedding card business, because we thought people kind of
wedding card
business.
Okay.
So because when you give a wedding card in the north, there's a culture that you give a mithai box. On an engagement, right from the engagement till the wedding, there's constantly something going. But in Bangalore, nobody did it. So Bangalore was kind of.
और अब तो लोग cards ही नहीं देते, अब तो
now in fact that even become digital.
Yeah.
And so that didn't work. Then online came, the wave of whole online, the aggregation came. So We were the first one to partner with Swiggy back then when it was just like a pilot. We said, okay, let's try it. It's a leap of faith. Let's try it and see what can go wrong. The guys coming, picking up your stuff, delivering to customers. And we had a demand of people asking us, do you deliver? And back then we didn't have that bandwidth. So that really clicked. Food aggregation clicked. And then over the years we realized Mithai shifted digital. It's no longer just retail. While retail plays a very important role, because what you see is when you see a brand, you get confidence in it. So while we did our retail expansion, we also focused on growing digitally. And digital expansion had the capability of catering to the entire country. So be it e-commerce, be it Q-commerce, be it food aggregation, slowly build that business. Today we're in a very comfortable space when it comes to internet and digital business.
So what percent of your business now comes digitally?
It's almost 40%.
Oh, wow. So now digitally, do you guys only, cater to South, India or
No,
Bangalore, or
we
it's
cater to the
across?
entire country.
So how does it feel, to be running a business which is a household, name?
It feels great. It comes with a lot of responsibility, but it has its own challenges. But it gives you a lot of confidence that you can do a lot of new things, and you can build a brand on your own. And it's obviously a lot of teamwork. It teaches you how to work in a team, how to take the right decision, how to take quick decisions, and things go wrong, so you learn. You change yourself, and it's a proud moment for all of us when we say we're from Anand Sweets and people are like, oh wow, I'm a customer of yours. I've tasted this, I've tasted that. I love your X product, Y product. It's a very proud moment for us because people have the trust in us, the confidence that whatever we're selling is with a lot of trust and a lot of care and a lot of passion. So it makes you realize that when you do the right things, you have the results for it.
बट कभी कभी कंज्यूमर फाउंडर्स को रिजल्ट्स तुरंत मिल जाते हैं और बहुत ब्रूटली भी मिलती है बिकॉज इन फूड इंडस्ट्री यू जज द फूड इमीडिएटली एंड स्कोर कार्ड इमीडिएटली आ जाते हैं सो हैव यू ऑल्सो फेस्ड एनी ऑफ दीज challenges wherein it's not always felt wow being the owner
Oh,
of
we have tons
Anand
of
Sweets.
challenges.
Yeah.
That's a lot of customers if he didn't have a good experience, he might give a negative feedback, or something small went wrong, he gives a negative feedback. So we've learned over the years. Initially, we were like, this is very unreasonable what he's doing, but over the years, we realized, a different way to tackle these things. Talk to the customer, understand their concerns, probably, apologize, offer, just probably give him a better experience next time when he comes in. So over there, we realized that, customers with bad experience need to be looked into with seriousness. But once you do that, I think that negativity changes towards the brand.
What is the worst experience you had with a customer?
Primarily to do with food, the quality must have, because, we deal with a lot of milk products, and during sometimes the summer, the product could have been gotten a little sour sometimes, While we do extensive quality checks and maybe an oversight, human error or something, nothing major, but even the smallest, because you're coming to an Anand, you're going to get the best. And if that spoils the experience, you tend to be disappointed, right? And that's when the frustration comes up.
But family run business की एक अपनी advantage and disadvantage होती है, it has a perception, it has a positive and negative perception, from, outside as well. So you have lived, the journey of a family, run business. So what is your view in terms of, the advantages of, taking the legacy ahead, or the disadvantages of taking the legacy ahead?
Family business, I would say, is more passion towards the business, When you corporatize, you have people who are there for for them the company is a job, but for a family it's not a job. It's their passion that they want to build. They want to they want to build a legacy out of it. In a non-family environment, it's about a job. Like you do you get appraised, and if you don't like it, you switch. But in family, you don't do that. You don't like it, you do things differently, and you keep doing it till you're satisfied. So the family. You're always trying to do something new, something better, something different, and you're not bound by anything. You're not bound by rules, regulations. Your boardroom meetings could be at a breakfast table or at lunch table. Your decisions can be over a cup of coffee, and things move fast. At the same time, in a family business, obviously we lack experts, we lack professionals. So we need to blend that into our culture so that we have a good mix of passion and expert in the business to run the show.
But personally for you, because so for instance, I think the most difficult people for me to sit across work and explain would be probably my mom, dad, my sister, my brother, because they are the people who are closest to you. So they can complete your sentences. They kind of know you so well. There is always a positive bias and there's always a negative bias towards people who you know so well.
Yeah.
So जब आप लोग, because you also have a business where you have your father, you are there, your brothers, cousins, etc. Are there. So how does that dynamic kind of work?
So it has challenges, but at the end of the day, so in our business, we've kind of verticalized our own roles. So our core competencies lie in our verticals. At the same time, for the business as a whole, we decide, we kind of come together, take a decision. We kind of communicate with each other what we're up to and why we're doing certain things, and so we maintain that level of discipline where you do you take care of your vertical. At the same time, at a company level, decision level, we kind of collectively do things. And also it boils down to a certain fact. Sometimes the decision is biased because the data is not available. But when we talk with data, when we talk with facts, that's why people realize, okay, that could be doable and maybe this is working, this is not working. So there has to be a little professional approach in dealing with a family member as well.
But is that easy to adopt, becoming professional with a family member? Because if you're sitting on a breakfast table and if you're taking, chatting with your brother as well, and at the same time you're taking decision, that this is your house, it's your breakfast table, and while I'm trying to be professional, but he's my brother. So like, how do you guys, I'm just trying to understand, is there a secret sauce that you guys apply to kind of maintain that?
Honestly, no secret sauce. It's with the moment, if things are meant to happen, it will happen, and obviously there will be arguments, there will be debates, there will be to and fro, there could be a delay in decision making because someone is not comfortable in the process, or maybe somebody has a different opinion of certain things, and then again it boils down to experimentation and let's try, let's work it out. If it doesn't, it's all about a lot of conversations, to be honest.
So if someone doesn't has a family run business but wants to start something in a sweet or food business, what would be your recommendation for any newbie?
I would say first focus on your product, because a product is what defines you. You can have a very nice store, you can have very fancy packaging, you can have a great customer service, but when the customer consumes something and if he doesn't like it, then everything else fails. At the same time, if your product is great and all the other factors are not, customers will come back to you. So as a founder, as someone who's starting new, I would say first focus on your product, get your product right, be confident of what you're selling, and then everything else will follow. I mean, don't take shortcut when it comes to the quality of your products.
अभी बहुत सारे न्यू एज ब्रांड्स आ गए मार्केट में, सो आई एम श्योर यू वुड हैव ट्राइड एंड एक्सपेरिमेंटेड लॉट ऑफ दीज ब्रांड्स, जस्ट नॉट इन स्वीट कैटेगरी, जनरली इन द फूड कैटेगरी. So which is one product beyond your product where you feel that look, they have really got the product right?
So we've realized a lot of Indians sweet players are having this fusion concept of Indian sweets with a Western dessert, and that seems to be doing well, and it seems to be very different in the market because a lot of the Gen Z crowd, the below 25, 30, they kind of experiment a lot of these products. They kind of look for something different. They don't like the traditional sweets, but traditional sweets still sells the most. A lot of people actually experiment and doing really well, which we have kind of, because see, Anand is again very focused on traditional. We do a lot of experiments, but people still come to us for those traditional mithais.
What next for Anand Sweets? Where do we see Anand Sweets in the next couple of years? आपके किस टाइप के expansion plans हैं in terms of product addition, in terms of city additions?
So a retail expansion goes on every year. So we want to add a couple of stores every year because Bangalore is a vast city and a lot of new areas have come up in Bangalore. So that's something that goes on, as business as usual for us, because retail is something which is facing the customer and the confidence of the brand comes in that. We've started another distribution business where we supply namkeen at 5 rupees and 10 rupees. That's to penetrate into the rural market. Then we've got into exports. Again, exports is something we want to crack. In exports, we can do a lot of food options, snack options, and obviously Mithai. Another vertical which we're seriously looking is the online space, because online has got its own challenges but a huge potential. So if you're right, if we do the right thing on in the online space, we can become a all India brand over there on those channels as well. So these are some of the verticals we're looking into.
Oh wow, interesting. So your hands are full with a lot of expansion.
Lot of expansion. And
Plans.
see, you can see all these are experiments again. Distribution is one vertical. There's an online. There's an export. There's obviously retail. So all of us kind of try to build our own vertical, and we see how it goes.
So the way you have joined your father's business, would you also want this legacy to be continued,
Definitely,
by your
yes.
kids?
Because we brought a lot of value addition as second generation. I'm sure the third generation will bring a far more value addition, because what happens is with our education we can bring in that value addition, but the next generation when they have their own education, they will start thinking differently, because with what's available in the market, what people are doing in the market, what people of their age are thinking in the market, that's when again the switch happens. So it's very interesting that the newer people come in, the younger generation comes in, and does things differently, changes the way we look at things. So it's good always to be resetting the whole legacy in the firm.
What has been the most difficult part about this, journey of building Anand Sweets?
I would say, see, we've been also very slow in expansion in the initial years, because we were not clear of what we were doing, and also difficult part is a lot of option. But what do we do? Which is the right way? How do we grow? I just said we got into 5 vertical, but we're not confident which one is the right way to go and which is the next big thing for us. So it's always a challenge that whatever you're doing, and you're dealing with food at the end of the day. So you have your own limitation in terms of the product, the pricing, the quality, the shelf life of product. So for us, the biggest challenge as a food seller is how do we keep the sweet fresh? How do we maintain shelf life? Because the demand of the market is they need at least 6 months sometimes to grow, grow exponentially. But that's where the limitation comes in. So we're kind of developing technology. We're kind of exploring what is the technology in the market. So for us, while we can have great plans, but at the end of the day, we're dealing with food. So we have to be really sensitive towards it.
So how often do you consume the food of Anand Sweets?
I think I once a week at least. Yeah, So
Which
when I
is-
walk into a store, like when I do my store visits, I'm really tempted by what I see around. So I end up consuming.
So how have you changed? So Ankit, you would have seen your father do business. Uske baad, you moved into the professional world, then you came into family business, and of course you've ran it and expanded it. So I personally believe that, when you run a business, you also change quite a bit, as a human, being. So how have you changed, over years?
See, initially when I joined the business, I was just learning. I didn't know what was right, what was wrong, and slowly, I started getting confident in the work that I'm doing, and I realized there's a lot of things that you can change. But I realized that you have to take ownership, because it's a family-run business. There's no one to fall back upon and no one to correct you. So if you've taken up something, you need to be very confident of what you're doing, and you need to do it very right. Because if you fail, then there's nobody there to correct you. So over the years, I realized that whatever I take up, whatever I do, I need to be 100% sure of what I'm doing. And there are no shortcuts, there are no compromises. You need to be, like, if it demands 7 days a week of work, you need to be there. There's no like a work-life balance sometimes. I mean, we definitely encourage all of that, but sometimes as a family member demand that you be there, you be there. I mean, you can't help it. I mean, if your staff is not able to, you need to be supportive to your staff. You need to professionalize the whole journey at Anand Sweets as well. So I've realized that we need to blend in family values with professional approach. But while we do that, we need to be sensitive to both of them while we try to corporatize the whole thing.
So what are the family values which you have blended in, within Anand Sweets?
Basically, your customer is your king, they say, right? And you can't compromise anything there. So as a family, whatever we do, we make sure that the customer the customer feedback matters to us. So and that's when one of the legacies is no shortcuts, no compromises on quality. The process, the whole experience for a customer has to be great.
So given you are in a customer service, business, what are the, you would also have been serviced, by multiple, maybe restaurants, maybe, hotels, airlines, etc., etc. So which have been those brands which have been able to delight, you as a customer? Because your bar also would be very high because you're running a
Yeah, so
business
yeah,
which is,
honestly, we're very
customer
critical
centric. Yeah.
when we go to a service industry, and
Yeah.
we are very critical.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people do a good job. Off the head, I can't remember. I think Indigo Airline does a very good job in terms of customer satisfaction, and a lot of restaurants actually do a very good job in terms of delighting customers. A lot of hotels do a very good job. I mean, Taj is a very good example again. Uh, Maybe Forest Essentials that I go to, again does a very good job. You feel warm when you go to some stores. You feel like buying.
Ankit, how is technology, coming in sweets and, food business?
So technology is very important for us when it comes to running the operation, because gone are the days when you can do things manually. Gone are the days where you're dependent on those registers and books and all. Even operationally at the store, we need technology. We need a system. We need uh, uh, to run the show, because it's the number of orders are getting vast, the people expectation are getting vast, and the only way to cater to this is get introduced technology. So we have at every aspect tried to introduce technology, uh, be it at a customer satisfaction level or an online ordering system, or the sheer as basic as generating a bill. We try to make it very seamless for the customer, and even at the back end, while we're doing production, when we're doing a supply chain, we want to build a business where there's no human dependency, there's no interdependency in human beings. Well, we need people to run the show, but the process works by itself. The whole system works by itself, and people are there to firefight the issues. Because we realize that with technology, when you have good software, then it's seamless. We don't have things work very nice in a very standardized way. So we realize that introducing technology, and frankly, there are a lot of good stuff available in the market. You just have to tap into the right things, and I think it makes your life really easy.
So have you guys use technology for cooking also, or that is,
No, cooking
manual?
also we use a lot of technology again. We know when the business started, we were dependent on a lot of chefs, and but as we scale, the amount of skilled people are reducing, because not everybody wants to become a chef in the sweet industry. So then we introduce, let's get technology, we get the proportions right, we get the processes in control, standardize the whole thing. We have technology to help us for all of that. So tomorrow you want to scale up a business, or we get a large order, we don't have to be so dependent on people, because we have technology to help us produce, pack, deliver, dispatch, and everything.
Well, have you also had an instance wherein someone was a salesperson or with you guys, या फिर मतलब working in some capacity in Anand Sweets and has started their own sweet, business?
So we've had cases where they started their own sweet business, or we've had cases where they've joined a competitor, learning after learning a lot from Anand. We do had such cases, but we can't help it after.
पर उस समय आपको कैसा फील होता है?
I mean, see, that's the business, yeah. That's we also take people from other sweet industry. Uh, some people take people from our industry. It's a part of the industry, and we need to live with it. It's how comfortable you make the employee. I mean, we do everything to make our employees comfortable, but if they think the interest lies somewhere else, then we can't help it.
What is one of your product which is highly underrated and you would want to recommend consumers to kind of consume that? Any new product or any old product which you think is really good and underrated?
So we've recently launched a range of healthy laddus, which is doing really well, but it's very underrated, because again we see a great traction for those items only online. Offline, we somewhat still think people can consume. It's not being used for gifting. It's not being used, as to gift it to the employees by corporates. They're still flocking to the traditional mithai. So I think healthy laddus, we really worked on, not getting sugar in place. Maida is a very item which is not preferred by a lot of people. So try to get the bad ingredients out. I would not say bad, I mean the unhealthy ingredients out, and build the product with the healthy ingredients. So I think in the future, probably people should try it.
I would surely try, because I keep looking for healthy.
Yeah, so we have options in millet, we have options in ragi now, we have options in just sugarless sweet range where we use the natural sweetness of the ingredient that we use.
But ये options आपने इसलिए add किए because your old consumers are coming in and telling you that we want healthy options, or you just generally feel that you should add that as a product
No,
line
it's not the
because
old
everyone is
customers. I
doing.
feel a lot of new customers are demanding this from us now. There's a lot of health awareness that has come in, a lot of health conscious people, and people want to consume sweets, but very calorie conscious people. So we thought we need to build because the hint came, we launched sugar-free sweets, the traditional sweets, which is my laddu, kaju katli. We launched them in a sugar-free format, and that did started doing very well for us. So we realized people want to consume sweets but are conscious. So we thought, why not experiment with some healthy option and a more healthy portfolio in the store, and it's doing well.
Ankit, you guys went on Swiggy very early in the journey of Swiggy. तो मतलब उस समय आपका ये mindset था कि online काफ़ी expansion होने वाला है, और what was the mindset when you partnered with Swiggy?
Frankly, Swiggy happened by chance because the founders did come to our store and said, we're doing this food delivery business where we'll pick it up from your store and deliver it to the customer. And honestly, I thought it was a great idea back then because obviously didn't realize the potential back then of what it is today. But we had this call from a lot of customers asking us to deliver sweets, and we didn't have that bandwidth, because that would entail us to have a delivery fleet and accountability and we didn't have mobiles as big as it is today here. So where the guy is and stuff like that. So we thought if someone is doing it for us, why not? Just have to deliver the product to them, and that's it. The customer gets it, customer is happy, the service provider is happy, and we as vendors are happy. So we thought let's take a chance, and it kind of really worked. And then we realized a lot of orders started coming on that platform. Then we realized, yes, okay, so today we are in that era where technology is going to play a big role for us.
But at that point of time, there was no proof of service of Swiggy. So because food also has limited shelf life, अगर कोई आप product को बहुत देर धूप में रख दोगे तो मतलब you start thinking and feeling that the product is may not be as fresh as what it is when it is in your store. तो वो वाला fear नहीं था आपके दिमाग में that from the time the delivery person picks up and delivers to my customer, how would that quality be maintained?
So Swiggy, when they started a very small serviceable area, and they started in an area in Koramangala where our store was already there. So for the food to get from our store to the customer would have been maximum 10 minutes. And back then the traffic was not so big, not a menace in Bangalore. So it was not a big problem. And initially we did only sweets. We didn't get into food. We didn't get into chats because we didn't know what would the right packaging be. There could be spillovers. So we did only sweets. And that was a safe product because sweets anyway have a good shelf life, at least for the delivery. So that worked for us.
How do you see the sweet business in India evolving in the next 10 years?
I think sweet has to get experimental because there will be this market which likes traditional sweets, but there's also a growing population that wants to experiment with a lot of things, a lot of ingredients, and it's also getting very health conscious. So while people want to consume sweets, they also want to be are aware of what they're consuming. They're very conscious of what they're consuming. So being in the industry, we realize that we need to change our product portfolio to suit the next generation that is coming in. And also we realize that only sweet will not be a game changer for us. We need to add a lot of other products in terms of namkeen, in terms of healthy snacks, in terms of restaurant items and stuff like that, in terms of quick service, anything that is like a snack item, healthy options. So we realize sweet has its own limitations. To grow the business, we need to add a product portfolio.
So any new product that you guys have added in the past 2-3 years which you felt that has been a very good decision to add that product?
Sugar-free sweets. We've added a really mini cute pack because we realize that the person consuming a sugar-free sweet is either a diabetic or a health conscious. So he will never buy a kilo from us. He will never buy 20 pieces from us. So we've got into this small 5 pieces pack, and that has done really well for us. So people actually prefer the size of the item, of the box that we make. And obviously it's sweet because we don't use sugar, but we use an alternative. So we realize that, okay, people are buying it. That means they want to consume, but they are health conscious. So that is actually, so based on that data, we in fact we decided to get into healthy options as well.
What has been the highest moment for you while you have been, running, this business? Like the high, like you would just call that this has been my high point
I think
till
it's
now.
still time for us to reach there. Every year we're growing and we have a lot of aspirations. So today, what gives me high is when people talk about my brand. People say, yeah, if I introduce myself as someone from Anand Sweets, they will be. I know the expression that they give me. I mean that's a great feeling. But as a business, we have a lot more to do and we need to grow.
No, as I told you when I, informed my production folks, also they were excited. They sent me a picture with Anand Sweets ka,
Oh, very
box.
nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
great. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Ankit.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for,
Thank you, Swati.
having, thanks for coming, by. It was great having you here.
Thanks for having me. It was nice talking to you.